Hi, my name is Koku with blackfilm.com, and I'm here with Jennifer Sears. She's star of the All Black show series Covenant. Thank you so much for joining me, Jennifer.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm really excited to talk to you. There's something that we have in common that everybody can't say that they did. We both went to Clark Atlanta University.
Stop! Come on, Panther!
Yes, I'm a CAU Panther.
Yeah, you can't spell AUC without CAU.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, I've never used that one, but I'm gonna start using that every day of my life. But no, I'm really excited to talk to you because another thing that just before we get into the show, you went to school for entertainment law.
Yes, I studied political science, pre-law. I was a pre-law major. And I had aspirations to become a lawyer and practice entertainment law. But as we see and as we know, fast forward decades later, God had other plans. And he's like, okay, you're definitely going to be in entertainment, but not exactly in the courtroom or reading contracts. So yeah, it's a funny twist of events and how God, caused me to pivot. Just as I was about to go into law school, enter law school, and I was invited to an open casting call, and I showed up to the casting call with no preparation, no representation. I didn't have an agent, nothing but God's grace. And
no kind of like headshot, bios,
no resume, nothing. Right. God had a mole. He planted somebody there for me. She was a PA, a production assistant for the project. I knew nothing about the project. I showed up to the casting call, and looked in the audition room, and none of the queens looked like me. Everybody had long flowing hair, whether it was theirs or store-bought. It was long. And I had my little short pixie. This is much longer than how I usually wear my hair, but I had a short little pixie cut, and I was like, wow, no one in this room looks like me. I'm probably not going to get it. And but I was there just to have fun because I always had a desire to act or do something in a creative space. I didn't actually know how to do it, how to go about doing it. But if you have a desire, I now have come to realize that when you have a desire for something and you at least take the first step, God will open doors and pathways for you. So, I could have said, oh, well, I don't have an agent or manager. I don't have any of that. So why bother going? But I had that desire, that burning desire to do something in a creative space, showed up to the casting call, broke all of the rules, all of the faux pas. You're not supposed to touch casting. You're not supposed to chew gum. I was chewing gum. Literally took my gum out, did the line, put my gum somewhere. They asked me to say it again. I did the line again. After I was done, I stood there. I was like, are we good? Need anything? No? Okay. Grabbed my gum off of where I placed it, put it back in my mouth. And they were looking at me like, who is this girl? But I think because I was so relaxed and I, let down my guard, that made them feel relaxed. And like, this is a relatable girl that we can actually see her at the reunion, which ended up being Medea's family reunion. So yeah, that was.
How difficult was it to like learn lines at that point? Because you weren't in the business at that. You just,
Yeah.
So are you just good at stuff like that? Oh, just the one line?
I only have one line, but I did like a little bit of an improv to where, and I didn't, again, this is all something that I didn't know. It was instinctive. I didn't study it. But I had a desire to do something just fun, just to give my own spin on it, and casting loved it. And after the fact, after I got into classes and started to become a student of the craft, I was like, oh, that was improv that I did. Look at me.
Now you know. No, that's awesome.
That's how I got into it.
Yeah, I mean, to your credit, I mean, at least to where you've gone now, as far as what you've put into the roles. I mean, when I watched The Covenant, I'm just like, I mean, it took you through a range of emotions. Yeah, that's not a easy role to play.
It is not. It is not. And Trish, I thank God first and foremost, but I thank Kay Singleton, the writer and show creator, and I thank Courtney Miller, the director, for giving me the creative space to explore Trish. Trish was already living inside me because I had already lived her life. She was giving me the grace and the space to tell her story through my own experiences. I'm not sure if you've seen part 2, but Trish, we start to see a little bit more of who Trish is. I think she's this loving wife who supports her husband. She has her husband's back. She holds him down. She's constantly speaking life into him, supporting him, uplifting him. And I love the fact that Aiden isn't threatened by Trish's success and her career aspiration, her goals. And she's this thriving, realtor. And she has her own thing going on. She doesn't lose herself in her marriage. So, a lot of women, we understand that we have to wear multiple hats. We have to be wife, business owner, entrepreneur, boss, and some of us are mothers. And so we have to occupy all of these spaces, and we don't really get a chance to tend to our own needs, our own cares, our own concerns. And we see in part 2, Trish has quite an undertaking and having to cover Aiden in his time of need.
Yes, I did see it.
And she herself needed to be covered because of the traumatic experience that happens to her. And I just love that beautiful space that Trish and Aiden share, where they have this symbiotic relationship where they're both dependent on each other, and one isn't a leech, the other isn't threatened or a textbook narcissist, where it's all about them.
He's not like that at all.
They have this beautiful relationship, this beautiful display of Black love, of a healthy relationship. But you also see toxicity in family. And I think that's the story, that's one of the threads that many people should come away from, examining our own families. Where can we break generational cycles of toxicity? The sins of the father or the sins of the mother falling upon the children. So yeah, we have all of that, all of those storylines within this beautiful and powerful and thrilling story of the Retribution.
Yes, and I think that one of the things that we should talk about that's really important about how you were supported on set is that there was actually an emotional and intimacy counselor provided by production. Yes. Because you have a very intense role. Again, there's a very traumatic experience, so it can be triggering to people. But they were able to help you with that. So talk about what that was like to have that kind of presence.
It was very, very encouraging in a sense where I knew that I wasn't taking this journey alone. I felt supported by the entire production team. They did provide an intimacy coordinator where she made sure that I felt safe. I unfortunately had a similar experience to Trish's, and it was triggering. And I think, I prayed that encourages a lot of women and men to embark on their own journey of healing. I did not want to do this scene. I was afraid. And I remember being in my dressing room and praying to God and asking God, I need you to help me through this, because the pain that I suffered going through that traumatic experience. And God told me, if you trust me with your pain, I'll heal not only you, but I'll help other women with their own healing. So that was something that I just had to really let go and trust the production team to support me. And they were very supportive. The intimacy coordinator had essential oils right after the scene. She put some essential oils behind my ears, on my wrist. She held me, she embraced me, made sure I felt safe. She helped me do some breathing exercises. It was just such an incredibly supportive team that I had never experienced in my 16 years of being in the industry.
I've never even heard anybody say anything like this. That's amazing. That's a testament to the cast. One of the things, and I know you're calling upon God a lot when we're talking. So I just wanted to say what's so good about this show. I think that when they see the covenant, a lot of times, especially when people are young, they're a little bit resistant to understanding religion and spirituality. This show is very, very accessible. There are lessons learned, and there's a lot of prayer, and there's a lot of rumination and understanding God and spirituality. But it's not presented in a way where people feel like they're being inundated with themes, and it's digestible is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So talk about what you think about the approach to how we talk about spirituality and God on the covenant.
I think Kay did a remarkable job, and making it more so on relationship than religion. With it being a faith-based anthology series, it wasn't preachy. It was very real. It was very real to where it helped people see biblical characters in a sense that they weren't perfect individuals. They were flawed human beings, imperfect, with their own problems, their own issues, their own hangups, you know, from drunkenness to adultery. I mean, you name it. Every sin, it seems like, that has been brought into the world, everyone in the Bible did it. And so it just goes to show you that everyone is able to be used by God.
Yes.
If they allow him to. We really have to take the focus off of ourselves, off of our own flaws, and place it on God, because that's why he extends grace, right? So we see threads, trails of his grace throughout each part of the anthology series, from part 1 to part 3 so far. And I'm just going to go ahead and presumptuously say in part 4. But yeah, I think that's the beauty of the covenant, is that the focus is on relationship, the beauty of the father-child relationship between God and his creations, and not so much religion that was man-made, and where it's forcing people to think that they have to be perfect in order to approach the perfect divine being who is God. So yeah, it's a beautiful, real anthology series, one that's not preachy, and it's not I hate to say it, hallmarky.
Yeah, no, it's true. But again, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's what makes the series so good, is that a lot of those characters are flawed in ways, but they're flawed in relatable ways. But it doesn't mean that you're not beyond redemption. You know, a lot of times people feel like, especially when we're talking about like our elders, you'd be like, you know, I walk in the house, what can I do right? You know, but this show just shows that, you know, there's progress, and there's steps to be made where once you own and acknowledge where you fall short, you can become whole, you can become a better person. And I mean, I'm not used to watching religious shows, but it felt good to see, like, there's scenes where there's prayer, there's shared prayer in the scenes, and people are healing. And I just thought that was just great. And it just something just overwhelmingly just felt right about it, you know? So I really appreciate that message. And I like the way that it is packaged in sort of in the sins. It's just really well written. Yeah. So what do you even say about the writing? Like, do you ever have anything to contribute in terms of the script or anything like that? Or do you add some things?
Not really. The only thing the only way I contributed was bringing my own experiences, bringing my own storyline, my own experiences, my own life, my own truths to the storyline. The character is already a living, breathing person. It's where you marry your experiences, your life, to hers, and blend the two to tell a rich, multi-layered story.
Beautiful story. So what else would you like people to take away from the covenant that they should know before taking this? And do you feel like this is something that even is, what do you think is a family show? Are there certain episodes that you would recommend for different situations?
Well, I would say, because of everything that we know of part 2 of Retribution, it is a very touchy topic. I'm not sure, you know, a certain age that parents will feel safe and comfortable sharing this with children. But I think that it should open up the conversation to help parents approach their children, because if it doesn't happen to the extent of what happened to Trish, it could be childhood molestation, sexual violence. That unfortunately, as tragic as it is, it happens to children. And so I think that this should open up the conversation for parents to want to talk to their children and make sure that they are creating a safe space for them to come to them and heal. It's important to start the healing process sooner rather than later. Absolutely. So I think that's one of the key takeaways that I would like for people to come away from the Retribution, is healing, personal healing, individual healing, and healing families.
I thank you so much, Jennifer. You're really, really, you're very passionate about the project. You brought an immense amount of talent to it. You played the role very well. It's a good, no, you really did. And it's a good show. I really, really enjoyed it, and I learned something from it. And again, it made me just not afraid to see a religious film, religious themes rather, on television and feel like I was being preached to. It's just done very well. It's nice. So again, my name is Koku with blackfilm.com. I am here with the beautiful, fabulous Jennifer Sears, my fellow CAU graduate. And you guys have to watch, and of course check for her other works as well. But right now we're talking about The Covenant, Star of the Covenant, on All Black, and it's streaming right now. Make sure you're streaming, that you are subscribed to All Black, guys. Take care, Jennifer.
Take care. See you at the next homecoming.
Of course. See you later. Bye. If you want to see more content like this on blackfilm.com, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell.